And we were seeing some good mule deer, and gosh sakes, we spotted this like this 30-inch mule deer, and he was pushing that 190 to 200, and that was kind of my goal, was to come down here and try to get a 190 or 200-inch mule deer. We spotted a nice buck, and we're going in for him. We're down on our hands and knees, and we're crawling. I mean, we're pushing. We had a pretty good mule deer that first morning. I mean, he was right there, and I mean, I got the safety off. I'm putting pressure onto it, and that deer started to move. I got about a 3-pound trigger. I probably had 1.5 pounds on that squeeze. My glasses are fogging up. I'm peeling clothes off. It's the last day, and we've given them a good effort, you know, and I says, let's go kill that 3x4. There we go.
The sun comes up on another great adventure, and Bob Foulkrod's locking in on a fresh challenge to take a world-class muley in the Lone Star State's most wide-open spaces.
Yeah, it's funny how things turn out. I get a phone call from Ed Tiblis down in New Mexico where he's hunting elk, and he said, I've got a fella here that's hunting elk with me. He said he's got a brand new mule deer operation going on. He said he'd like to talk to you.
Well, we're at the Alamo Cetus Ranch, and I actually inherited this property from my father. He bought this property back in 1952, and there's 64,000 acres here. Long
story short, he's going to start up this mule deer operation, a whitetail operation, and he wanted to know if I could come down and do a show.
Since 1952, my dad never hunted the ranch as far as the deer go. And up until last year, there probably hadn't been 20 deer killed off this ranch. The deer have just been running out here, and of course, we're open range. We don't even have any high fences or anything.
You want to talk about fair chase? Well, you got 65,000 acres. The only fence you'll see here is a cattle fence. There's no high fences, and there are no high fences any place near around it. So that's about as fair chase as you get.
We counted at least 600 mule deer and about 90 whitetail deer. And of those deer, we saw probably 30 170s to 190. Saw 2 or 3 200 class deer.
Bob's hunting the high plains of Oldham County up in the untamed Texas Panhandle, where the barely hunted Alamo Cetus Ranch is bursting with mature bucks. Hunting an unpressured jewel like this one is a special opportunity for any hunter. So it's game on for Bob and company as they head out into this enormous ranch in search of a 200-inch giant. Bob's no stranger to monster muleys, and he's going to need all of his experience to find and finish a true bruiser in these extreme conditions.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
You see one?
Yeah. Go up to the left of where he's going. There's one up against the rock cliffs. He's walking, he's following that doe. You know, the one thing about mule deer is you spend a lot of time glassing, so you need some good optics, you know, something that's, especially when you're going to spend all day looking. And, you know, even though it's midday, I mean, you're waiting for these mule deer maybe just to stand up and turn back around so you get an eyeball on them. Let's see what that doe does so she don't spook real bad. Because they're following that doe. There he is. You get a real good look at him now. And we were seeing some good mule deer, and gosh sakes, we spotted this like this 30-inch mule deer, and he was pushing that 190 to 200, and that was kind of my goal, was to come down here and try to get a 190 or 200-inch mule deer. We spotted a nice buck, and we're going in for him. I got the wind hitting me right in the ear. I got the sun over my shoulder pointing at him, so if that deer turns around and looks, he's going to be looking right into the sun. So I remove him a little bit. How far is he?
521. 521. Easy, 28 inches, 29 inches. With a little bit of luck on the massive spread, he'll probably push 190. We need to go to this range.
Yep.
Down that point.
Yep.
It's the only way we're going to kill that buck.
Yep.
216. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we had a pretty good mule deer that first morning. I mean, he was right there, and I mean, I got the safety off. I'm putting pressure onto it.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Ram Trucks, guts, glory, Ram. By Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. And by Swarovski Optic.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to hunt mule deer just about everywhere. I mean, I shot a desert mule deer on my quest, which was bumping that 199 mark, and the same thing within Colorado. I took an exceptional one out there that bumped that 199 mark.
The mule deer country of the West has always held a powerful attraction for Bob Foulkrod. Having hunted throughout the lop-eared deer's territory for years, he's learned their habits, especially in comparison to the whitetails.
Unlike a whitetail, if you bump a whitetail out of an area, I mean, he'll run a little ways and turn around and look back at you and walk in the brush and try to find another hiding spot. They can adapt to almost any situation you want. They can handle pressure pretty well. Mule deer, I don't believe, can handle the pressure. He's a solitude animal. He stays away from pressure, especially those old, mature mule deer. And when you're sitting there hunting them, you know, again, the glasses that you use, you know, you spend a lot of time glassing. You watch him go into his bedding area. You don't try to get him out of his bedding area. You come back and maybe try to get in there a little bit earlier, play to win. You come off from a different mountain trying to get into him. But the last thing you want to do is spook him out of that area where he feels comfortable at.
For Bob, his lifelong goal for mule deer hunting is a buck topping 200 inches. But the more he thinks about it, the more he realizes it may be a goal destined to elude him.
So I guess my goal in life someday is I got to go out there and find me a 200-inch mule deer. But if that 199 stands in front of me, I'll never kill the 200 because I'll shoot that 199 or that 180 every day.
With that high, wide, 30-inch buck freshly emblazoned on his mind, Bob and his team take up the chase in hopes of getting that hefty beast on the ground.
Yeah, we had a pretty good mule deer that first morning. I mean, he was right there, and I mean, I got the safety off. I'm putting pressure onto it. I got about a 3-pound trigger. I probably had 1.5 pounds on that squeeze, and that deer started to move. And I said, well, he'll stop again. He'll give me a standing still shot, and it never happened, you know. I was squeezing the trigger when he started to run.
Well, we got him up what, two times?
Yeah.
That's a nice buck.
That's a nice buck. Yeah. Yeah. I thought he'd stop. If he stopped one more time out there, he was, you know, less than 300 yards. We stood a real good chance of killing him. Do I regret? Nah, you know, that was a nice deer, but that really wasn't that big one we were looking for. It's like I asked the girl to dance, and she said no, and I asked her again, and she said no. And I ran out on the dance floor, and she still said no, and ran off. That's what happened to my mule deer.
This episode of Training Camp is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend.
You know, a lot of people run for cover when it rains. You know, when I see a condition, hard rain, hard snow, sun, rain, fog, wind blowing 20, 30 miles an hour, I come out onto the range and I shoot because I want to see how the weather, how Mother Nature affects what I'm shooting at.
Bob's shooting Winchester's versatile ballistic silvertip ammunition, which is uniquely designed for the extreme range shooting common to Texas mule deer rifle hunts, featuring a polymer tip set into an alloyed lead core that's wrapped in a uniquely contoured jacket and finished with the advanced boat tail design. This bullet is built for downrange stability and controlled expansion on impact to bring down big game animals with deadly accuracy.
I'm going to hold straight on to the red spot down there. I could tell the rain was going a little bit to the right. I could cheat that a little bit. For right now, I'm going to show you what's going to happen if I hold dead center, and we'll let Mother Nature show you what it does to the bullet. I want to see what it's going to do, so I'm going to put 3 shots down there just to see what it does in the rain. What I did on the first target, which would be the bottom target, is I held right on the red. The top target, I tried to play what I thought was the conditions. Wind was blowing a little bit, and the rain was really coming down. I'll be interested to see myself what the conditions did. First time not playing the conditions at all. I holding here, and the wind was really, I could see the rain going sideways, and it took me out. Here I was trying to play the wind and the rain a little bit. I know this one shot I was holding clean over here, you know, and for it to drift in. So whether I played the wind, played the conditions, or whether I just shot it, at 300 yards, I'm into my 8-inch circle, which would kill me any animal that I'm after. The next time it rains, snows, fog, hail, whatever it does, go to the range and practice if you can. That way when you get on a hunt, no matter what Mother Nature throws at you, you're ready. And that builds confidence, my friends.
This episode of Training Camp was brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. With one very near miss early in his hunt, Bob's getting back to basics in search of his next opportunity by hitting the high spots for some long-range glassing of this seemingly endless terrain.
I got him.
He's moving.
How far?
Hang on, we'll get him.
There he is. She's walking away. He ain't gonna stay there too long. And we kept looking for that 30-inch one, and we looked for the one from the day before that we just couldn't find him. It's the last day, and we've given it a good effort, you know, and I says, let's go kill that 3x4.
We're doing another stalk now. Going after that big 3x4.
You just got that anticipation like he's gonna be there any second. And we seen that 3x4, and he was a good buck. It was one that really probably should have been taken out. He wouldn't have scored real well, but I mean, as far as looking at him and being on the wall, that was a pretty buck.
We're down to the last morning. We can't find that big buck. It's a pretty nice deer.
We got an eyeball where he went, and we went up over the hill, and we're down on our hands and knees. My glasses are fogging up. I'm peeling clothes off, and we got up there. It's 400 yards. I never even hesitated onto it.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. By Hunter Specialties, the stuff of legends. By Swarovski Optic. And by Redhead, finest in the field since 1856. Hunting adventures take Bob Foulkrod all over the place, and he never goes anywhere without his Ram Outdoorsmen.
Hey, let me show you some of the features of the Outdoorsman. Besides, it's got the great big old 5.7 Hemi into it. Look at these. What a beautiful dash onto it. It's got tow hooks. This is for pulling out all my friends that get stuck. But look back here. Finally, somebody has put a hitch in. Whether you're pulling a snowmobile trailer or whether you're pulling something that needs electric brakes, how many times have they been down here and you backed up and you ripped them off? I mean, fantastic. Then look here, skid proof. Most trucks come with them little cheap plastic things, bed liners they put into them. Not the Ram, I want to tell you. The Outdoorsman's got it all. You can put all your gear in there. If you can't personalize this truck for you, whether you're a hunter, or whether you're a fisherman, or whether you're a golfer, or whatever it is, hey, I don't know what to do. This truck is made for you and whatever sports you take up.
Just like any experienced hunter, Bob always double checks his sights before heading into the field.
Okay, Bob, you're about 1 inch high.
Here, we'll see what this shot does.
We got here to the lodge, and and got set up, and then he wanted to go down to the shooting range. And we went down here to the shooting range here, and about a 100-yard target. And he set up, and very professional. I would say he shot a gun before.
Good stuff. We're all ready to go.
We're doing another stock now. We're going after that big 3x4.
It's the last day, and we've given it a good effort, you know, and I says, let's go kill that 3x4. And we had to drop in to, you know, to stay out of sight, and we're going up through a ravine, and we run right into some bedded does that was there.
I don't see him. There somewhere. There's another doe.
There he is.
Yeah, I see him.
The 3x4 went out, and we got an eyeball where he went, and we went up over the hill. And, I mean, we're pushing, and we're down on our hands and knees, and we're crawling. My glasses are fogging up. I'm peeling clothes off. My hanky's coming out. I'm trying to keep my glasses from fogging. I got my hat off. I'm stripped down. Finally, we get cooled off a little bit, and we came up over the hill, and Ed says, "That's him. Let's take him."
How far?
407 yards, you know. Back in Pennsylvania where, you know, we practice, you know, shooting at long distances, and I feel very comfortable taking a deer out there at 500 yards. And this deer was quartered at me a little bit. You know, I've got a great gun. I got the best ammo in the world. How far is too far? You know, when we're putting that good, you know, that good stock onto him, we got up there, it's 400 yards. I never even hesitated onto it. That ballistic tear it up on top, I dialed that to where it said 400 yards for me. I got the safety off. I'm putting pressure onto it.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Ram Trucks, guts, glory, Ram. Hunter Specialties, the stuff of legends. And by Redhead, finest in the field since 1856. With his hunt winding down and the pressure intensifying, Bob's making one last push to get a trophy mule deer in his crosshairs. And now the stalk is on.
The 3x4 went out, and we got an eyeball where he went, and we went up over the hill. And, I mean, we're pushing, and we're down on our hands and knees, and we're crawling. My glasses are fogging up. I'm peeling clothes off. Finally, we get cooled off a little bit, and we came up over the hill, and Ed says, "That's him. Let's take him."
How far?
407 yards, you know. I never even hesitated onto it. That ballistic tear it up on top, I dialed that to where it said 400 yards for me.
We got him. He's going down right there. Yes. Yes. Good shot, Bob. Good shot.
Right there, folks, is a Winchester moment. We get up there, and don't you know, that's not the 3x4 we was chasing. It was a good mature deer. It was 8 years old, you know, nice heavy rack onto him. Yeah, he's a mature deer. Not that 3x4 we were chasing. Or it's not that big 30-inch one. Or the one we bumped yesterday morning coming across there. But that's a nice buck. We didn't get that 3x4, we didn't kill that 30-inch one, but you know, they're here, you know, so you know, if I get invited back down, I'm coming back down and get see if I can, you know, break that 200 mark. You know, we're calling oops, but oops, not the right one. By looking at this deer that's going to be on my wall, it's going to remind me of meeting Chris in a nice lodge and the opportunity to come down here and hunting You know, and when it's all said and done, that's what hunting's about.
Whether you're a hunter, shooter, or both, Winchester has you covered online. Visit Winchester.com to learn about innovative new products. Launch the award-winning ballistics calculator. Customize your shooting conditions and choose and compare your favorite ammo. Download the app for your iPhone and carry the ballistics calculator with you in the field. Winchester.com. Experience the American legend.
And I pull down on that like that, and that is just rock solid. If you're going to shoot those distances, you got to have something that's rock solid. Well, we set way over on top of that other hill over there, glassing the frosty morning and looking for that big 30-inch one we put to bed last night. We actually drove all the way around and tried to work in here, and he figured he came back down in here. We didn't want to bump him, so we got started right back where we left off. We was over there all day yesterday in the wind, and it was cold, and the wind was blowing. We saw a lot of buck. We seen this buck. We seen a 3x4 that we started to chase this morning. The one we was chasing yesterday morning was narrow, and he was a little higher than this, but nice buck, nice buck.